Okay, so here's a feeling I bet you know. You're lying in bed, scrolling through your camera roll, thousands of photos deep, and you hit a video from a concert or a vacation from 2 years ago. And you realize, with this weird little pit in your stomach, that you remember the layout of your phone screen better than you remember the actual night. It's what I call scroll sickness. We've become obsessed with the documentation mandate. Think about it. You're at brunch, the food arrives, and it's beautiful. But instead of tasting it, you spend 10 minutes moving the coffee cup 3 inches to the left, finding the warm filter, and captioning it. By the time you're done, the food is cold, the conversation has moved on, and the moment is dead. We aren't living our lives anymore. We're basically unpaid data entry clerks for an iCloud account we're never going to visit. We treat every experience like a trophy to be collected rather than a moment to actually live through. And honestly, it's exhausting. We're turning our present reality into a digital cemetery of good times that we weren't actually present for. It's wild, right? We're so afraid of losing the evidence that we've stopped making the memories themselves. But here's where it gets really interesting. If we look at the history of the word experience, it literally means to try or to risk. Historically, an experience wasn't a souvenir. It was a journey you survived. It was something that left a mark or changed your DNA. Fast forward to 1933, and the philosopher Walter Benjamin was already screaming about this. He noticed that after World War I, soldiers came back silent. Not because they had nothing to say, but because the flood of information, the headlines, the stats had replaced experience. He called it the atrophy of experience. He argued that when we are bombarded with content, we build a digital shield around ourselves. Today, that shield is your smartphone. We use the screen like a bulletproof vest to protect us from the danger of being truly moved or overwhelmed by reality. Does this resonate with you? Or am I just overthinking my last vacation? I mean, think about the last time you saw something truly breathtaking, like a sunset or a landmark. Did you look at it with your eyes first, or did you immediately reach for the glass? We've traded the raw intensity of life for a curated 4K version that fits in our pocket. Now, this is the part that completely blew my mind. We take photos because we want to remember, right? Well, science says we're doing the exact opposite. There's this thing called the Photo-Taking Impairment Effect. Studies show that when you hit the shutter, your brain receives a signal that says, okay, the storage task is handled by the device. It literally gives your neurons permission to delete the details. You aren't saving the memory. You're giving your brain a formal receipt to justify forgetting it. It's cognitive offloading at its most tragic. Susan Sontag, back in the 70s, nailed this. She said that taking a photo is a way of turning the world into an object we own. It feels like power. When we're in a situation that's too beautiful or too scary to handle, we take a photo to make it manageable. We turn a living, breathing moment into a static file. I want to try something weird. I'm going to stop talking for just 5 seconds. No visuals, no words. Just listen to whatever is happening in your room right now. Pause 5 seconds. That's it. That's a biological memory. No pixels, no cloud storage. Just your nervous system interacting with the world. Every time you choose the camera over that feeling, you're hitting the delete button on your own internal autobiography. So how do we stop the leak? How do we stop being curators of a life we aren't actually living? I've been trying a few life hacks that feel like a sensory rebellion. First, the 5-minute buffer. When you get to a landmark, a party, or even a nice meal, keep the phone in your pocket for the first 5 minutes. Let your senses anchor the memory, smell the air, hear the chatter, feel the temperature. You have to tag the memory in your biological hard drive before you outsource it to the cloud. Second, the one-shot limit. Imagine your phone is an old Leica with only 1 frame left. This forces you to actually look at the scene to find the true moment rather than spraying and praying with a burst mode. And third, sensory tagging. Before you take a photo, mentally name 1 thing you smell and 1 thing you feel. This creates a multi-dimensional anchor that an AI-generated year in review can't replicate. It's about reclaiming your brain from the documentation mandate. We have to treat our attention like the most expensive luxury in the world because in 2026, it absolutely is. Stop treating your life like a data entry job. Put the phone down and let your neurons do the work, not your pixels. At the end of the day, there's a growing movement called invisible life. It's the idea that not being online is the ultimate proof that you were actually there. It's the ultimate flex. In a world where everything is tracked, logged, and uploaded, an unrecorded moment is a private sanctuary. It's a masterpiece that exists only in your mind. Trust your brain more than your iCloud storage. Your heart doesn't need a 4K resolution to remember how a moment felt. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Will your life be remembered by a server farm in Oregon? Or by the way your heart feels right now? What's one thing you'd tell your past self about this? Or one moment you wish you'd just watched instead of filmed? I'm genuinely curious to hear. Until next time, go out and live something that's too good to be captured on a screen. Stay curious and stay present.